Hi there, Tutor Bednigo here. Welcome to today's session. Alright, so in today's session we're going to continue with our series of videos meant to help the grade 12s prepare for their mathematics exams. Alright, so we are currently solving Mathematics 2024 Paper 2 Internal Exam Paper, and we're now on question 3B, which is a question on vectors. So when you're dealing with vectors, it is important for you to take note of these two things. Okay, the first thing is that you need to make sure you pay attention to the direction of the vector. Okay, if you are heading in the same direction as the vector, then the value for that vector is going to be positive. But if you are going against the direction of the vector, then that value for that particular vector changes to a negative. For example, if you are moving from E to F, you can see the direction of this vector is heading towards F. So meaning we're heading in the same direction as the vector, and therefore the value representing vector EF is still going to be a positive. But if you're moving from F to E, you're trying to find vector FE, you're going against the direction, meaning the value is going to change to a negative. So this will become negative 4 vector B. Another thing you need to take note of is that whenever you're dealing with vectors, you need to always use a path with known values. Let's say, for example, you're trying to move from F to H. Okay, it is not ideal for you to move using this path. Okay, it's better you use this path because you know all the values. You know the value for this vector here. You know the value for that vector here. Right, so that is that. We can now go through the question and start answering it. So the question says, in the diagram, EFG is a triangle. EFG is a triangle in which EH is equal to 4 vector A. EH is equal to 4 vector A. EF is equal to 4 vector B. EF is equal to 4 vector B. And then Fj to Jg is of the ratio 1 to 3. Fj to Jg is of the ratio 1 to 3, meaning the distance from there to there is 1, from there to there is 3. Okay, and H is the midpoint of EG. H is a midpoint, the middle point of EG. Okay, meaning if from there to there it's 4A, meaning from there to there it's still going to be 4 vector A. So we can actually plug in those pieces of information. So this will also be 4 vector A, since this is the midpoint, and if the distance from there to there is 4 vector A, meaning the distance from there to there will still be 4 vector A. And then here we had the ratio, which is Fj to Jg is given 1 to 3. So meaning the distance from there to there is 1, and then the distance from there to there is 3. All right, now let us look at the questions. It says express in terms of A and O vector B. In terms of vector A and O vector B, the vector FH. Okay, so FH, this one is just a single mark because it's a simple question. So we can move from F to H by using this route. So we can say FE plus EF. Okay, so let's have our solutions over here. So that is question 3. B, Roman numeral 1, A. Right. 3B, Roman numeral 1, question A. Okay. So we're trying to find FH. So vector FH is going to be equal to FE plus EH. FE, vector FE plus vector EH. Okay. So FH is therefore going to be, what is FE? So FE is this vector here, and we're going against a direction. So it's going to be negative 4 vector B. Plus, what is EH? EH is 4 vector A. So you can see here we don't have any like terms. Therefore, we cannot simplify this one any further. The only thing we can do is to rearrange the terms so that we ensure that the first term starts with a positive value. So this becomes our final answer. It is recommended that you always start your final answer with a positive value. That's why we had to switch these values around. We go to B. B, we're finding FG, vector FG. So how can you move from F to G? So this is F and this is G. So we can say FE plus EG. What is EG? EG is basically 4A plus 4A, giving us 8A. So FG and then plus EG. That would be our path. Vector FG, FE, sorry. Vector FE plus vector EG. So FG, vector FG is going to be what is FE? FE is still against the direction, -4, vector B plus EG. EG is EH plus HG. So what is EH? 4A. What is HG? 4A. So 4A plus 4A gives us 8A. So meaning EG is 8A. 8 vector A. You can also see that we don't have any like terms here again. So we simply rearrange the values so that our first term is going to be a positive. So this is our final answer there. Go to C. C is asking us to find EJ. Where is E? EJ. So how can you move from E to J? You can move from E to J by going E, F, and then F, J. Okay? So EJ, E vector J, vector EJ is equal to EF, vector EF plus FJ, vector FJ. All right, so now what is EF? Okay, EF it's in the direction of the vector. So it's going to be +4, +4 vector B plus what is FJ? So FJ is distance from there to there, which is 1 out of the total. Okay, so what is the total? From there to there, we are going to say 1 plus 3, giving us 4. So 1 over the total. The total of what vector? The total of FG. So it's going to be 1 over 4 vector FG. What is FG? FG, we found it here. Okay, so this is 1 over 4 of this vector. So that is our FJ. So we're going to say 1 over 4 vector FG, and then we're going to say EJ, vector EJ is going to be equal to 4 vector B plus 1 over 4. In brackets, we plug in FG. FG is this one here, 8A, 8 vector A minus 4 vector B. Then we can simplify there. So E vector J, vector EJ is going to be 4 vector B. And then this is multiplication, so we can say 4 there, 1, 4 into 8, 2. So 1 times the 2A there, that's going to give us +2 vector A. Okay, 4 into 4, 1. 4 into that 4, it's 1. So meaning we're just remaining with vector B. 1 times vector B, negative vector B, because positive times negative is negative. Okay, so we are done there. We can now group the like terms. Vector EJ is going to be equal to 4 vector B and vector B are like terms. So we put them together. Then we're going to have 2 vector A. So vector EJ is going to be 4 minus the invisible one there, gives us 3. And then you return the vector. Then we're going to say plus vector 2A. So this will be our final answer. Okay, now we can go to the last question. So the last question says that given that FP, vector FP is equal to K vector FH, show that vector EP is equal to this one. So for this type of equation, they have already given us the answer. Okay, they just want us to show them the solution which will lead to this answer. So they've given us some piece of information which we're supposed to use. So here they've assigned vector FP. FP, they've assigned it this vector here, and we have a K here which is a scalar. Okay, So we have FH. Do we have FH somewhere? Yes, FH is there. Okay, so this simply means we get FH and we multiply every term with the K there. That is what this K times FH is implying. Okay, so we take note of FH. So let's say, because we need to create space. So FH, vector FH is equal to 4A minus 4 vector B. Okay, that is our that is our FH. So now that we have taken note of that one, we can erase these other solutions. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to find this vector here. So we're going to say FP, this is a Roman numeral 2, vector FP. You've told us it is K, vector F, is it H? Okay, so there where there is FH, we plug in the values for vector FH, meaning it's going to be K, and then in brackets, we're going to plug in that vector there. 4 vector A minus 4 vector B, and then we can expand with a K. So vector FP is going to be K times this is going to be 4K vector A. Okay, the vector comes at the end, the coefficient comes at the front. Positive times negative is negative. K times 4 vector B is going to be 4, and then the K, and then vector B. Okay, so now this is vector FP. So we can now come to this question. They're asking us to show that EP, vector EP, where is E? EP is going to give us that. So now how can you move from vector E, how can you move from E to P? Okay, since we know what FP is, vector FP, which is this one, meaning we can move from E to F and then F to P. Okay, since we know vector FP, this is the one we're just from finding. So we're going to say EP, vector EP, therefore vector EP is going to be equal to E what? Is it F? EF plus FP, okay, plus FP, and then we plug in the values representing those vectors. What is EF? EF from there to there, it is 4 vector B, and it's in the same direction as a vector, so it's going to be a positive value, plus what is FP? FP is what we have up there, so it's going to be 4K vector A minus 4K vector B. So now we need to make sure that we solve this question so that we find this exact answer. So where am I going to write this answer? Okay, let me write it up here. So the answer, the final answer I was supposed to find is 4K vector A plus 4 open bracket 1 minus K close vector B. So this is the answer we're supposed to find at the end. So we make sure that as we're solving this question, it should be getting similar to this one until it is identical to this one. So you can see there is 4K vector A here. So this is the term we have here. So we need to take it to the front, and then here we are going to figure out what we're supposed to do to make it exactly as that one. So vector EP is going to be equal to, so this guy comes to the front, 4K vector A. Okay, and then we can group the like terms, plus 4 vector B. You can see this one and this one have a B. Okay, 4K vector B. Then now let's check the final answer. What did they do? Okay, we've already plugged in the 4K vector A here where it's supposed to be. Okay, now we need to achieve this. So how did they solve this part of the question for them to achieve this? So what they did here, they factorized with a 4 on the left side. Okay, so these two values, okay, you factorize with a 4 on the left side, and then on the right side they factorize with a vector B. So let us start by first of all factorizing the left side with a 4. So we're going to say vector EP is going to be 4K vector A, Then we're factorizing with a what? A positive 4. You open the brackets. Okay? So we're going to say 4 vector b divided by 4. The 4s will cancel, remain with the what? With vector b. Okay? Negative divided by positive is negative. 4k vector b divided by 4, the 4s will cancel. What do you remain with? K vector b. Okay? So we have achieved the 4 there. We now need to factorize with the vector b there. So we're now going to say vector EP is going to be equal to 4k vector A plus 4 open bracket, close bracket. We're factorizing with the what? Vector B. You can see there's vector B there. So now we're going to say vector B divided by vector B, we're going to get a 1. Okay, and we have a 1 there. Okay, positive divided by negative is negative. K vector B divided by vector B, the vector B's will cancel, remain with what? With a K. We can now check, and you will see to say this one is exactly as the final answer there that we have there. So you can underline there, and then we can even say hence shown. So that is how you solve such a question. So this is actually the one that has the most marks, and you have to make sure that you save it in such a way that it leads you to the final answer. Make sure you show that the vector they give you leads to that particular answer, like we have done. Otherwise, that is that for this session. In tomorrow's session, actually in today's session, because you are probably watching this video at 05, and the next video will be posted at 18 hours, and in the next video I'll be solving the question on geometric progression. Yeah, otherwise we continue solving. Remember, we post these videos every single day. The first video is posted at 05 hours and the second video is posted at 18 hours. So the goal is for us to solve 4 exam papers before the grade 12s write their exam. This is just a way to help them prepare for their mathematics paper 2 exams. Alright, so that is that. Thank you for watching, and remember to like the video if you found it beneficial, and also share with your friends, invite your friends. If you have people that can benefit from such content, like any grade 12s that are writing, or even the GCEs that are writing in 2026 next year, they can still benefit from this content. Yeah, so you can actually find our videos on Facebook. We are there on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. You simply search for Tutor Abednego, and you're going to find the profiles there, and you'll be able to watch all these videos from there. So you simply choose which platform you are going to be comfortable with, and you can be following us from there. Otherwise, that is that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.